YouTube family, what's good? What's good? Yo, let's kick it. So I'm watching this program from one of my subs, and this program's called the Apollo Discussions. Basically what these guys go over meticulously now. These guys go over how we did not go to the moon. And all they do is go and peel the Apollo program and the supposed shuttle launches apart bit by bit by bit by bit. These guys go into the grains of the details of how we did not go to the moon. One of them is spearheaded by a gentleman by the name of Marcus Allen. He's the British dude that you're going to hear talk from time to time. And he's been a photographer, and he's been specializing in photography for over 50 years now. And then this guy just breaks it all down like perfectly. Either way, I want you guys to take a listen and tell me what you think. I'm going to bring my comments up afterwards. Go ahead.
Yesterday, I was at a meeting. It was a meeting to do with something quite different, and I've got to ask a few questions. Is anybody, about 25 people present, I said, does anybody here believe that humans have landed on the moon? Not one person was prepared to answer that positively. They said, when we see what's going on now, it's a bit doubtful. You know, they're people in England, so they don't have the emotional attachment that people in America do. If I asked that question of Americans, probably 80% would say, yeah, of course they did, I saw it on television. Or was that a fact? But people have now looked at it, listened to the arguments, because I tend not to shut up about it. If anybody asks me, I'll go off on.
So pretty much that brings up a good talking point right there, right? So he mentions how in England they don't have the emotional attachment the way we do in America. That brings up something that I mention every single time not every single time, but often enough, the whole ego aspect, right? Of did we do it, didn't we do it? Well, a lot of people don't even understand the science behind trying to get to the moon, or even just to leave orbit, or even just to get out into space. Even though, I'm a true earther, I don't believe a lot of these things is possible at all. But just the sheer science behind it, our bodies couldn't withstand a lot of these environmental issues, right? And so when you mention this to people, they just think you're crazy without doing the actual research. And, then it just goes to show you it's a pride thing. It's an ego thing, all right? I'm going to take you to another clip.
That makes sense. That's all it is. Because anybody who thinks that humans have landed on the moon have to explain three things. How do they overcome the heat? How do they overcome the radiation? And how do they deal with the vacuum? That's all it's.
All right, those three key points, simple points. How do you overcome the heat, right? The exosphere, the thermosphere. I've talked about it countless times on other videos. And then people try to say, well, we've got, paint that protects us from that heat. But then you've got the nuts inside. You've got the people, right? You've got that. You've got the radiation, the Van Allen belts. Those ain't, as far as I know, those ain't going nowhere, right? Founded by discovered by James Van Allen. Apparently, them things had been here since day one. It protects us from the quote-unquote sun's harmful rays, right? So then once you pass the Van Allen belts, and they're supposed to protect you from the sun's harmful rays, then what? What protects you from outside the Van Allen belts? Like, nobody can explain simple stuff like this, right? And then obviously you've got the vacuum. We've got the vacuum, and all we can reproduce here on Earth with like feet upon feet of concrete and steel is 10 to the negative 6 torr. Meanwhile, out on the moon, you've got to experience 10 to the negative 17 torr. If you could go to the moon. That's if you could go to the moon. Which, us as flat earthers, true earthers, we understand that the moon is not what we think it is. We have no idea what the moon is. However, it does provide us light, but it is also an electromagnetic phenomenon, right? Basically working as a polar opposite to what the sun is. Its counterpart, right? The man is the sun. The woman is the moon. Everything has its equal. Everything has its opposite.
Whatever they were using, their oxidizer and stuff in their fuel, the LOX, is quite a bit different the way it burns. Like, not saying that they aren't noisy, but I imagine the methane's a lot quieter.
That point you made about the sound, the level of sound, produced by the Apollo rockets. And you've got the astronauts 300 foot up in the air. They're going to be affected by that sound.
When the sound is 8 times louder than what it takes to kill you, yeah.
You'd think that they might have been affected.
That's probably one of the ones we barely discuss, right? It's the decibel levels at which these guys were exposed to, or supposedly exposed to, during the launch, right? The amount of decibels was damn near 10 times the amount that's available to kill a man, to kill a man. But yet these guys went to the moon and then came back, and they did it successfully 6 times, right? Successfully 6 times in a 3-year period. So these are simple questions that we've been asking, and they don't have an answer for them. They don't have a proper answer for them. And the answers that they come up with, if they do have an answer, they're not sufficient enough. We've heard it already before. Well, they went back. We've heard stupid things like, well, they have the technology. It's just classified. Or they went through the Van Allen belts. They just didn't feel it and experience it. You guys are just putting too much stock into something like the radiation. Well, I could tell you, as one that's taking a radioisotope. As a kid, I had a kidney infection. And then they gave me a radioisotope just to run it through my dang system, just so they can basically highlight me and scan me and see what the hell was going on. This was ages ago, right? Back in the dang early 90s. And then, I just having this radioisotope, super mild radioisotope in me, I got nauseous. And then I was up chucking bile, right? In a bucket. And then I was asking the doc, what the hell's wrong with me? He's like, oh, this is a normal side effect to having something radioactive in you. That's a mild radioisotope. Not to mention what the experience of being around something like a Van Allen belt would be like, right? So it's basically like you're being cooked from the inside out. And then having to survive this, in greater amounts as you penetrate deeper into the Van Allen belts, and then ultimately exposing yourself fully to the radiations of outer space. Anyway, YouTube, that's all I got. Tell me what you think about that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the Apollo Detectives information in the description box. Sub to them. Get with this program, the Apollo Discussions. It's an awesome program. Highly recommended. That's all I got. YouTube family, wish y'all nothing but the best. Health, wealth, love, joy, prosperity, most of all wisdom. With that, love y'all. I'm out. Peace.